Well, this one is really cracked. Look at that. The truck is just as bad. This is a distributor out of this car, original. I built a whole new one. I probably told people this. I built a whole new one. I'm gonna say 2007, 2008. I was not living here. Yeah, this thing was sitting in my driveway in my old house for like a month, and I was trying to figure all this shit out and get some parts. Originally bought a junkyard distributor, but then I took it apart and I broke it, and I then decided to buy a new housing, which is in the car now, a new shaft. I even bought this little copper piece, which you can't, well, you still get them, but they don't make them anymore. New pole piece, new pickup coil, and I put a new module on it. So it's like an all new distributor, but I built it. And there's a roll pin too that holds that pole piece to the shaft. I reused the old one. I should have really bought a new one. Standard bushings. What I was showing them, I was going to show, it's the cracks that form on these things. There's one right there. TBI distributor, you know, the Caprices, trucks. Well, they start rusting like crazy too. Mine's very, very bad now. I cleaned it all up years ago and it didn't really seem to do anything. It's like worse than this one. And yeah, you see the big crack. Crack goes through there. Crack goes to the other side. Crack, 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 crack. These shafts, they were out of stock for a very, very, very long time. Now they're actually back in stock, believe it or not. See, this one is pushed up too high on the top. It's supposed to go down on those grooves. But what happened is when you take these things apart, when you want to service the pickup coil, which is down there, the plastic piece, you have to take out the shaft. There's a roll pin in it. And knock that out. You take the gear off, there's a shim. And then what happens is the shaft moves a little bit, but it gets stuck. Like right now, the thing is stuck. These bushings, I think, were bad on it. And because that's why it was making a lot of noise. It was going, and then it stopped, and but it just stuck, and you have to give it a little tap, kind of like that. But sometimes when you do that, there's an oil muck on the shaft. It gets in the middle, all oil, nasty, like oil baked stuff, because it just sits there. And it gets stuck, so as you're doing that, it pulls up on this bushing right here, and the whole height changes. These bushings, they stick out a little bit in the top, and it's pressed out. It's a slight, pressed in. This is a slight amount, so it sticks out. So when you do that, it raises the whole height of everything on here. But I kind of just eyeballed it, because you see that little clip has to go on. It's the slightest bit. You kind of figure out what the height is by where that clip sits, because you'll see witness marks where the little teeth are. You can figure out that way. Then, like I said, this star gets beat up on it, and this thing, since it's cracked, it moves easily up and down too, so that can give you problems with an old one when you take it apart. The shafts on anywhere from like $50 to $100 GM. I just bought one for the wagon. Right now, I think I paid $70 for it just so I can get it. Just have it in stock in case I ever need it in the future. It's a good part to have. And the truck, I have one new one. This shaft, you see, this one's really, really screwed up. It's actually all cracked and everything. No, not as cracked as the other one, but it pulled up on a shaft right there. You have to press it back on. I use this one to set the oil pump drive when you take a distributor out. You can just size it back up just like that, stick it down there, try to find it, rotate it to put the distributor in easier. Yeah, this one though, look at that, all freaking just mangled. Oh, there's a little crack on it right there, I see it. Where is it? Maybe there's something on it. But yeah, TBI distributors, pretty simple. The module goes bad because it gets hot. Get a little nasty corrosion on the bottom. This one had a nasty corrosion too. You see where I wire brushed it off, but it's still there. Original pickup coil, original module, which worked. And I was always thinking that this was the cause of the start and stall, but no. Didn't fix that. It was running good for a couple years, and then it stalls out when it gets hot. The Florida thing. That's probably the part number for the housing. I'm gonna try to save that and see if I can find one. The Caprice housing is wider and shorter. See, the opening is wider than a Chevy truck or TBI Camaro, because these cowl overhangs on these cars, it's spec. You can't get it out. You have to tilt it on a crazy angle, and it just barely gets out of the car with everything in place, but you can fish it out. Sometimes, in these distributors too, they get a little corrosion in that connector and the pickup coil that can cause some issues. And these wires on here, they also start cracking, and they can ground out against another and cause issues, like an intermittent problem. Pickup coils are cheap, like 20 bucks. That pole piece, that's a piece of steel. I don't think it's magnetic. This is magnetic, that little star. This isn't. And I guess this tells the computer what cylinder it's at. Because there's 8 little points on here, and there is 4 on this. I don't know how it works, but it has to figure it out somehow. Gets a pulse from that pickup coil, a little magnetic field, and it knows what cylinder is up. But yeah, I guess that's it for the distributor deal. They're simple pieces, and hopefully I'll be able to pry that rotor off the other one. Because to get the rotor off, you just basically pry between a star and shaft. Ideally, when you get the rotor off, well, you want to pry it off too. You see that it's got a little peg in the rotor. You want to go this way. Don't go that way. Because when you go that way, you're just twisting it this way and that way. You want to go with that lock tab, and then it pops off easier. But that's all we got for now. We're not doing nothing. This garage stinks. It smells like fuel vapor, because the cars start falling apart and disintegrating in the heat, and everything else does in here. And yeah, maybe next week put something on, or see my truck on the back of a tow truck when the rotor breaks on it. Never know.